Remember, you two have to be perfectly in sync.
You!
Yes!
Jen! Ha! Well, what do you think?
Guys, Bulma and Chi-Chi are going to do the fusion dance perfectly for the first time and challenge Gogeta to a fight. The big question is, will they have a chance? Well, let's find out together. But first, leave your like and also subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. Have you already done this? So let's get started. On planet Earth, everything seemed calm, but Bulma had a brilliant idea and wanted to carry out the plan at any cost. Goku said, "Bulma, why do you want to learn the fusion dance? That seems kind of unusual." Bulma replied, "Look Goku, I have a brilliant idea. If I merge with Chi-Chi, we can combine my intelligence with her willpower. Think of what we could do together. Also, wouldn't it be interesting to see what this merger would look like?" Chi-Chi said, "What? I won't do that. Why would I agree with such an absurd idea?" Bulma replied, "Oh Chi-Chi, don't be like that. We have been through so many strange situations. Think of it like a science experiment. Besides, who knows? We could end up being amazing together." Chi-Chi said, "I don't know, Bulma. The idea of doing that ridiculous dance in front of everyone makes me uncomfortable." Goku said, "Oh, it's not so bad, Chi-Chi. Vegeta and I do this all the time. You just need to focus on the movements and energy." Chi-Chi replied, "But it's not just about the dancing, Goku. What if something goes wrong? What if we end up looking horrible or, I don't know, destroy something?" Bulma said, "We're going to rehearse the dance until we get it right. I promise it will be safe. Besides, you trust me, don't you?" Chi-Chi sighed. "I trust Bulma, but this still seems crazy." Goku said, "Well, if you really want to try, I can teach you the dance. Shall we start now?" Bulma replied, "Yes, I'm ready." Chi-Chi said, "Oh, I can't believe I'm agreeing to this." Hours later, in the backyard of Goku's house, Goku said, "Okay, the first thing is to align your energies. You need to be on the same level. Bulma, try not to think about technology for a minute. And Chi-Chi, try to relax a little." Chi-Chi replied, "Relax. Do you know who you're talking to, Goku? I'm a busy mom." Bulma said, "Let's try, Chi-Chi. Close your eyes. Focus on energy." Chi-Chi sighed. "It's okay. Let's do this right." Goku said, "Good. Now follow my movements. Keep the rhythm and make sure your fingers are aligned at the end. This is crucial." After several failed attempts, Chi-Chi said, "Bulma, you missed the step again. How can you be so smart but so clumsy?" Bulma replied, "Hey, it's not easy. I'm not a fighter like you. Give me a discount." Goku said, "Calm down, you two. Remember, this is about synchronization. You need to work together, not fight." Bulma said, "You're right, Goku. Chi-Chi, I'm sorry. Let's try again." Chi-Chi replied, "Okay, but we better get it right this time." Finally, after several hours of training, Goku said, "Hey Bulma, Chi-Chi, are you ready for the real fusion test? Now is the time to show that you learned it well." Bulma said, "Of course we are, Goku. Chi-Chi and I practiced a lot. This time everything will be fine." Chi-Chi said, "Yes, we're prepared, but Goku, are you sure it's safe? The last thing I want is to end up fat and ugly." Goku said, "Don't worry. If you do everything right, there's no way it can go wrong. And if it does, well, it'll be fun." Bulma said, "Funny for you maybe. We're the ones who will suffer the consequences." The two positioned themselves facing each other, with Goku watching closely. He was clearly excited, almost as if he was rooting for something to go wrong. Goku said, "Remember, timing is key, and don't forget to touch your fingers at the exact moment." Bulma said, Yes, we know. Now be quiet and let us concentrate." Chi-Chi said, "Come on Bulma, 1, 2, 3. They began to dance, moving their arms in circles and trying to keep the rhythm. At first, everything seemed to be going well. Their movements were coordinated and they seemed to be in perfect harmony. Goku said, "That's it. You're doing great. Now all you need to do is touch your fingers." However, at the crucial moment when their fingers were supposed to touch, Bulma and Chi-Chi faltered. Bulma moved forward a little, while Chi-Chi stayed behind. The fingers didn't touch in the right way, and a bright light began to surround the two. Bulma said, "Oh no, Chi-Chi, what did we do?" Chi-Chi said, "I don't know, but I think it went wrong." The light increased in intensity, and when it finally subsided, a grotesque figure stood before Goku. It was a fat, gangly fusion of Bulma and Chi-Chi with a confused look. The creature had Bulma's blue hair. The face was a mixture of the two's features, but in a way that didn't mix well. The body was enormous, with disproportionate arms and legs. Fusion spoke, What happened to me? I feel so heavy." Goku said, No, you guys messed up the fusion dance and ended up turning into this." Fusion said, This what? What am I?" Goku said, "Well, you're A fat, gangly fusion, sorry. The merger, which decided to call itself Fat Bulchie, began to walk around, complaining about everything. Fat Bulchie said, "I can't believe this. I'm horrible." Bulma said in thought, "Calm down. We'll solve this. We just need to wait for the fusion to end." Chi-Chi said, "That's right. The fusion only lasts 30 minutes, right? So just wait." Fat Bulchie said, 30 minutes? I can't last 30 minutes like this. I'm huge and slow." Meanwhile, Goku tried not to laugh, but he couldn't hold back a giggle. Goku said, "Sorry, but you look hilarious. You look like Majin Buu, only with blue hair." Fat Bulchie said, "Goku, if you don't stop laughing, I'm going to punch you." Goku said, all right, I'll behave." However, the more Goku tried to stop laughing, the harder it became. He started laughing loudly, holding his stomach and almost falling to the ground. Goku said, I can't stop. You're so funny, Fat Bulchie." Fat Bulchie said, "Goku, I swear, if you don't stop laughing, I'll turn you into a frog." Goku said, now you're threatening to turn me into a frog? That's even funnier." Fat Bulchie, frustrated and embarrassed, decided to sit down and wait for the 30 minutes to pass. She complained about everything, the heat, the hunger, the clothes that didn't fit properly. Fat Bulchie said, "I can't believe I'm going through this. I'm a brilliant scientist and a dedicated housewife, and now I'm here, fat and gangly." Bulma said, "Calm down, Fat Bulchie. It'll be over. Just a few more minutes." Chi-Chi said, "And when it's over, I promise I'll never try fusion again." Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the bright light enveloped Fat Bulchie once again, and Bulma and Chi-Chi separated. The two fell to the ground, exhausted and relieved. Bulma said, "Phew, what a horrible experience." Chi-Chi said, "I'll never attempt fusion again. That was a nightmare." Goku said, "At least it was fun. For me." Bulma said, "Goku, if you tell this to Vegeta, I swear I'll create a time machine just to play tricks on you." Goku said, "I promise I won't tell, but only if you make me a special dinner." And so, Bulma and Chi-Chi learned that the fusion dance was no joke. They decided to leave the combat techniques to the warriors for a while because the frustration made them excited to try fusing again. But they decided not to tell Goku for now because they knew they would succeed in fusing at some point and would challenge Gogeta to a fight, just to show Goku how much more powerful they could be than the boys. Goku said, "Hey guys, maybe next time you'll try fusion with Vegeta and Yamcha. I'd love to see that." Bulma said, "Goku, if you don't stop talking, I'm going to send you to space without oxygen." Chi-Chi said, "And I'm going to make sure you don't eat rice for a week." Goku said, all right, I'm already quiet." And so the day ended with lots of laughs, especially from Goku, and a valuable lesson. The fusion dance is not for amateurs. Bulma and Chi-Chi promised never to try again, at least that's what Goku believed. And so the three of them went to the Capsule Corporation to rest and eat some of the food that Chi-Chi and Bulma had prepared. A few weeks later, Bulma said, "Goku, you need to come see this. Chi-Chi and I have trained really hard, and we have something amazing to show you." Goku spoke, "What? You two trained? This is new. What will it be? A new gadget? A combat robot?" Chi-Chi said, "Nothing like that, Goku. It's something much more impressive, but we'll only show it if you promise not to laugh." Goku spoke, "I promise. Now I'm curious. What did you guys get up to?" Meanwhile, Vegeta, who had been invited by Bulma, arrived at the place with an expression of disinterest. Vegeta spoke, "What is this useless meeting, woman? I have important training to do." Bulma said, "Relax, Vegeta. This will be worth it. You'll see something you've never seen before." Vegeta said, "I doubt it. But since I'm here, let's get on with it." Bulma and Chi-Chi positioned themselves opposite each other, with Goku and Vegeta watching closely. Goku was excited while Vegeta looked bored. Goku said, "Hey Vegeta, do you think they're going to do what I'm thinking?" Vegeta said, "If that's what I'm thinking, it's a waste of time. The fusion dance is not for amateurs." Bulma said, "Oh yeah, then prepare to be impressed, Vegeta." The two began to dance, moving their arms in circles and keeping the perfect rhythm. This time, everything was going well. Their movements were coordinated, and they seemed to be in perfect harmony. Goku said, "Wow, they're doing great. Vegeta, do you see this?" Vegeta said, "It's just luck. We'll see in the end." At the crucial moment when the fingers were supposed to touch, Bulma and Chi-Chi got it right. A bright light enveloped the two, and when the dust settled, a new warrior stood before Goku and Vegeta. She was incredibly beautiful, with Bulma's blue hair and Chi-Chi's determined eyes. Her outfit was a mix of the two's outfits, and she radiated an impressive energy. Fusion said, "Wow, this is amazing! I feel so powerful!" Goku spoke. "Hey, you did it! Now what should we call you?" Fusion said, How about Bulchie?" or Chima. No, wait, let's keep the name Bulchie. Yes, Bulchie, Vegeta spoke. What a ridiculous name. But I admit, the fusion was successful. Now what do you plan to do with it? Bulchie spoke. I want to test my skills in a real fight. And who better to face than Gogeta? Goku said, wow, she wants to fight Gogeta. Vegeta, what do you think? Vegeta said, that's ridiculous. I'm not going to waste my time with an amateur fusion. Bulchie said, oh yeah, so you're afraid of losing to me, Vegeta. Vegeta spoke. What? Fear. I, the Prince of Saiyans, be afraid of a ridiculous fusion like you. Bulchie said, then prove it. Fusion with Goku and fight me. Vegeta was irritated by the provocation, but also curious to test the strength of the new fusion. He looked at Goku, who was clearly excited about the idea. Goku said, come on Vegeta, it'll be fun. Vegeta said, just because I want to prove that this fusion is useless, but don't expect me to like it. Goku and Vegeta positioned themselves facing each other and began the fusion dance. This time they were synchronized perfectly, and their fingers touched at the exact moment. A bright light enveloped the two, and when the dust settled, Gogeta stood before Bulchie. Gogeta spoke. So, you want to fight me? Let's see what you have. Bulchie spoke. Finally, a real fight! Let's go, Gogeta! The battle began, and Bulchie proved herself to be incredibly skilled. She combined Bulma's intelligence with Chi-Chi's strength and determination, using creative techniques and agile movements. However, Gogeta was a formidable opponent, with the combined experience and power of Goku and Vegeta. Gogeta said, you're good, but you're still not enough to defeat me. Bulchie spoke, don't underestimate my strength. Bulchie launched a series of quick attacks, but Gogeta dodged them with ease. He counterattacked with a powerful blow, which Bulchie blocked with difficulty. Gogeta said, you're strong, but you still lack experience. Bulchie said, I won't give up so easily. The fight continued, with Bulchie doing his best, but Gogeta was clearly in control. He used his special technique, the Gallic Kamehameha, which combined Goku's Kamehameha with Vegeta's Gallic Ho. Bulchie tried to block, but the force of the attack was too much for her. Bulchie said, oh no, I can't lose. Gogeta said, sorry Bulchie, but this fight is over. With one last blow, Gogeta defeated Bulchie, who began to glow and separate into Bulma and Chi-Chi. The two fell to the ground, exhausted but impressed with what they had achieved. Bulma said, phew, that was amazing. Even though we lost, it was an amazing experience. Chi-Chi spoke, yes, we showed what we're capable of, and Goku, you and Vegeta were amazing. Goku said, that was a fun fight. You two were great. Vegeta spoke, it was a decent fight, but in the end, true strength always wins. Bulma said, well, I think this proves that fusion isn't just for warriors. We managed to do something amazing. Chi-Chi said, yes, and even though we didn't win, we showed that we are capable of great things. Goku spoke, and that's what matters. Now who wants a feast to celebrate? Vegeta said, food? You never change, Kakarot, but I have to admit I'm hungry too. Bulma said, relax, Vegeta. After all that, you deserve a good meal. Goku spoke. So Bulma, Chi-Chi, how was the experience of fusing together? What did you feel? Vegeta said, yes, tell me soon. I still think it was a waste of time, but I'm curious to know what two amateurs like you felt. Bulma spoke, oh shut up Vegeta, it was incredible. I've never felt so powerful before. It was like I had access to a strength I never imagined I had. I could feel the energy flowing through me and every movement was precise and full of power. Chi-Chi said, and I felt so smart. It's hard to explain, but it was like I had access to all of Bulma's knowledge. I could understand things I never imagined were possible. It was an incredible feeling. Goku spoke. Wow, that's awesome. So you really felt each other's power and intelligence? Bulma said, yes, it was exactly that. I always knew that Chi-Chi was strong and determined, but feeling it inside was completely different. It was as if I had her strength and my intelligence combined in one person. Chi-Chi spoke, and I never imagined I could feel so smart. Bulma, you have a brilliant mind, and being able to experience that was amazing. I felt like I could solve any problem, understand anything. Vegeta, who until then seemed uninterested, crossed his arms and looked at the two with an air of curiosity. Vegeta spoke, so you're saying that fusion allowed you to experiment with each other's abilities. Interesting, but that doesn't change the fact that fusion is a technique for warriors, not scientists and housewives. Bulma said, Vegeta, you're just jealous because we were able to do something you never imagined we would be able to do. Vegeta spoke, envy? I, the Prince of Saiyans, am jealous of you? That's ridiculous. Goku said, hey Vegeta, there's no need to get mad. They're just sharing their experience. And admit it, it was impressive to see Bulchie in action. Vegeta spoke. She was strong, but she was still an amateur fusion. Nothing compared to Gogeta's power. Chi-Chi said, well, maybe we don't have the same power as you, but the experience was incredible. And you know what, Vegeta? Maybe you should try fusion with someone other than Goku. Who knows, you might discover something new about yourself. Vegeta spoke. Absurd. Fusion is a sacred technique, not an experiment to be tested on anyone. Bulma spoke. Come on, Vegeta, you're just afraid of finding out that there's more to you than just brute strength. Vegeta was visibly irritated by the provocation, but did not respond. Instead, he turned his back and started walking towards the house. Goku said, hey Vegeta, wait, I think they have a point. Maybe fusion isn't just about power, but also about understanding each other. Who knows, it could make us even better warriors. Vegeta spoke. Kakarot, you're talking nonsense again. Fusion is a combat technique, nothing more. Bulma said, well, maybe you need to try to understand, but of course if you're afraid. Vegeta said, I'm not afraid of anything, but I'm not going to waste my time on this. As Vegeta walked away, Goku looked at Bulma and Chi-Chi with a smile. Goku spoke, he's always been stubborn, but I think you touched on an important point. Fusion isn't just about power, it's also about connection, and you two proved that even without being warriors, you can do something incredible. Chi-Chi spoke, thank you Goku, this means a lot to us. Bulma said, yes, and you know what? I think this experience brought us even closer together. Now I understand Chi-Chi's strength and determination better, and she understands my mind better. Chi-Chi said, exactly, and who knows, maybe in the future we'll try again, but for now I think that's enough. Goku said, well, I'd love to see that again, but for now, how about we celebrate with a feast? After all this, I'm really hungry. Bulma said, of course, Goku. After all, we can't let you starve, can we? Chi-Chi said, and I'm going to prepare a special dinner for everyone. After all, today was an amazing day. And so, the group got together to celebrate the unique experience that Bulma and Chi-Chi had. As they ate and laughed together, they reflected on how fusion had been more than just a combat technique. For Bulma and Chi-Chi, it was an opportunity to understand each other better and discover new sides of themselves. Guys, did you like this epic story? Comment, I really want to know your opinion. And of course, don't forget to like, which is very, very important. And also subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos like this. Goodbye!